everyone, welcome back to Thomas Planet News. This is episode 4. Tonight's question is serious. Is the Russia Ukraine war just a regional conflict? Or is it the beginning of something much bigger? Could this be the start of World War III? Let's break this down calmly, factually, and strategically. In this episode, we will cover the battlefield situation in 2026, NATO's growing role, the global economic and political impact, the real risk of World War III, and what could happen next. Let's begin. Background. The conflict began in February 2022 when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. But tensions go back to 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea and fighting began in eastern Ukraine. What started as a rapid military operation turned into one of the largest wars in Europe since World War II. Now in 2026, the war continues, and the world is watching closely. Battlefield situation in 2026. The battlefield today is intense, but largely stabilized. The war has evolved into a war of attrition. Front lines in eastern Ukraine remain heavily fortified. In some areas, trench warfare has returned, a reminder of 20th century conflicts. Modern technology dominates the battlefield. Surveillance drones, attack drones, long-range missile systems, electronic warfare, cyber operations. Russia continues missile and drone strikes on infrastructure, especially energy systems. Ukraine has strengthened its defenses with Western-supplied air defense systems. Neither side has achieved a decisive breakthrough. Military analysts describe the situation as a prolonged strategic stalemate. Both sides face heavy casualties, ammunition pressure, manpower strain, economic stress. Satellite imagery and open source intelligence show deep defensive fortifications being built, suggesting preparation for long-term conflict rather than rapid offensives. This is no longer a fast-moving invasion. It is a grinding confrontation. NATO's role. NATO has not officially entered the war. There are no NATO combat troops fighting inside Ukraine. However, NATO support has been significant. Member countries have provided advanced weapon systems, air defense equipment, training for Ukrainian forces, intelligence sharing, and financial aid. The United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and Poland have been key contributors. Meanwhile, NATO has strengthened its eastern defenses. More troops are stationed in Poland, the Baltic states, and Romania. Finland joined NATO and Sweden moved into deeper security cooperation. This has reshaped Europe's security landscape. Russia views NATO expansion as a direct security threat. NATO describes it as defensive protection. This tension is one of the core drivers of global anxiety. Global impact. This war has affected the entire world. Energy markets. Europe reduced its dependence on Russian gas. Countries shifted to LNG imports and renewable energy. Energy prices surged in the early years of the war and remain sensitive to escalation. Food security. Europe is one of the world's largest grain exporters. The war has disrupted wheat and corn supplies. Several developing countries faced food shortages and rising prices. Global economy. Sanctions on Russia reshaped global trade flows. Russia strengthened ties with China, India, and Middle Eastern partners. Defense spending worldwide increased sharply. The global economy is becoming more fragmented. Geopolitical blocs are becoming clearer. The big question: is this the start of World War III? Now let's address the central question. Could this conflict turn into World War III? At present, this remains a regional war, but with global involvement. Ukraine is supported by NATO nations. Russia is a nuclear superpower. NATO includes nuclear-armed countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. A direct NATO-Russia military confrontation would dramatically escalate the situation. That is where fears of World War III begin. However, it is important to remain realistic. So far, NATO has avoided sending combat troops. Russia has avoided attacking NATO territory. Communication channels between major powers remain open. Why? Because leaders understand the consequences. A full-scale war between nuclear powers would be catastrophic, economically devastating, militarily destructive, potentially nuclear. Most strategic analysts believe that while tensions are high, a full global war remains unlikely but not impossible. The real risks include a direct strike on a NATO member, a major miscalculation, escalating cyber attacks, and expansion of conflict into other regions. There is also the broader geopolitical factor. If tensions increase simultaneously in regions like the Indo Pacific, global power competition could intensify further. Yeah, but nuclear deterrence remains a powerful force, preventing direct confrontation. Modern global powers know that there would be no true winner in a global war. So is this World War III as of 2026? No. Is there a risk? Yes, but controlled risk. The future depends on diplomacy, restraint, and political decisions, not just military strength. What could happen next? Several possible outcomes exist. Continuous stalemate, the war continues with no decisive breakthrough. Negotiated settlement, peace talks resume, no major disagreements remain over territory and security guarantees. Escalation, red lines are crossed, leading to broader confrontation. Frozen conflict, the war settles into a long term, unresolved division. Each scenario carries consequences for global stability. Final thoughts. The Russia Ukraine war has already reshaped global politics. It accelerated NATO expansion. It changed energy markets. It redefined modern warfare with drones and cyber operations. And it reminded the world how fragile peace can be. Whether this becomes a wider war depends not just on weapons, but on leadership and diplomacy. History shows that wars expand when communication fails. The world today stands at a sensitive moment. The decisions made now will shape the next decade. What do you think? Is this the beginning of a larger global conflict? Or will strategic restraint prevent escalation? Let us know in the comments. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to Thomas Planet News. This was episode 4. Stay informed, stay aware. See you in the next episode. Thank you.